I like completely new models. There's very little expectation from them and no shoes to fill. And that's exactly the case with Toyota's new CHR. It's a little compact SUV, a crossover, and it's actually being targeted at one very specific clientele, namely millennials. Now, millennials have got strange buying habits. They buy based on emotion, something that is stylish, is crammed full of tech, something that stands out from the crowd. I think the CHR ticks all those boxes. And style is something that the CHR has loads of. I really do like the styling, despite the fact that it's a little polarizing. Either you like it or you don't. I'm inclined to like it. Correlations have been pulled with the Nissan Juke, but this is just so much cooler. I mean, I love the detailing in the front here and the sharp lines, while still retaining a nice, smooth profile. These headlights are stunning. Now, they say that it is coupe styled, so you've got this high waistline, and they've hidden the rear door handles up in the C-pillar. It's really, really stylish, and it works really well. But with that high waistline, any kid that grows up with a CHR is going to be about 9 years old before they know what scenery looks like. And the coupe styling continues around the rear. I mean, this is sharper than a chef's knife. Take a look at the slope on this rear window, and I like this wing. It's got a bit of a 90s Escort Cosworth sort of vibe to it. It's also got very short overhangs, and while that's nice to look at, it causes a bit of a problem because Toyota's given us a full-size spare. And as a result of that short overhang, well, there's no place to put the spare. So it lifts the boot floor to this height, which means that, well, you've got no boot space, sadly. And then we come to the interior of the CHR. I'm the sort of guy that really pays a lot of attention to the interior, and it seems Toyota has done the same. Now, the overall design reminds me a bit of the Renault Megane in this sort of clamshell design, but I love the way that they've layered different surfaces. So you've got this soft touch leather upper with exposed stitching, and this lovely metallic grey bar that runs through the center of it. And I love the way that it just incorporates into the door card, especially there on the passenger side. Underneath it, there's what looks like piano black, but it's actually got metal flake in it, so it's a little bit glossy, a little bit metallic. It's a nice little touch and a bit of a change from the ordinary piano black. Then they've got this diamond motif that they carry throughout the interior. And you're going to find it in so many places. You're going to find it here on the climate control buttons. The cup holders have these little sharp points to them, and around the gear lever. You're going to find it here on the multifunction steering wheel as well. But sadly, these don't feel so great. These feel a little bit flimsy. That's the one little criticism I've got. The typeface on the gauges, all the markers there have got these little diamonds, and even the needles are stylized in that way. You're going to get it on the door cards and, well, on the speaker grills. You're even going to get it in the roof lining. Now that's real attention to detail. It's all over, but it just really is a comfortable, fantastic place to be. I really like these seats. These seats are wonderfully comfortable. It really helps when you're out there on the road, so let's find out how it drives. On the whole, little CHR is a cracking drive. You've only got the choice of one engine, and it's a 1.2 litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine. Makes 85 kilowatts and 185 newton meters of torque. And it goes to show that you don't need to place too much emphasis on displacement in this day and age. Now, it's a really peppy little motor, but it does struggle to get off the line. And I'm going to get to that in a few. The reason why I want to stay on the motor is because it's actually a very clever engine. Now, the normal 4-stroke internal combustion motor uses what's known as the Otto cycle. This one can switch between the Otto cycle and the Atkinson cycle. Now, the Atkinson cycle is one that has a shorter intake, but a full-length compression and power stroke. And this engine can do that. Toyota gets that right by leaving the intake valve open just a little bit longer as the piston starts making its way back up on the compression stroke. This pushes a little bit of the mixture out back into the intake, but it reduces the amount of fuel that you use. It's a very, very clever system. It still gives you the full power stroke, but it's reduced intake. Very clever. I like it. It's worth reading up about. I wanted to talk about why it's a little tricky. You see, you can get this with a CVT gearbox or the 6-speed manual. It's a great gearbox, But the lack of low-down torque means that pulling away requires a healthy dollop of accelerator or some clever Fred Astaire-like footwork so that you don't stall it. In fact, it's very easy to stall this car. The gear shift is fantastic. It is great once you're on the move, and that low-down torque is not a problem when you're on the go. It's also got this intelligent manual transmission button. You switch that on, and it's going to blip the throttle for you. It does it on the downshifts, so that you get this fantastically smooth downshift without having to require a third leg or heel toe it. But if you're very, very careful, it will do it on the upshifts as well. So, change at a steady pace, and the drive is going to be so smooth. It really is handy to have. Now, this combination with the manual transmission is going to give you about, Toyota claims 6.3 litres per 100. And they're pretty accurate. In normal mode, I've gotten it down to 6.4. It hovers around the high sixes, but 6.4 is attainable. And you can switch it into eco mode, which is going to save you a little bit of extra fuel. You can also switch it into sport mode. It's going to liven things up, and that's where this little G meter in the center display here comes into its own. Handy, but, the suspension's not all that, so I doubt you're going to be playing with that too much. Now, the CHR comes in 3 trims. You've got the base 1.2T, and that goes for about 319,000 Rand. The model we're in here, the Plus, goes for 345,000 Rand, making it about 50,000 Rand more expensive than a Nissan Juke. But the Juke is getting a bit long in the tooth. The one I would go for, though, is the slightly more expensive 1.2 with a CVT gearbox. And I know, this is me recommending a CVT gearbox, but it gets rid of that pull away. And speaking of that, I'm going to have to pay attention again. Oh,